Okay. All right, all right. Looks like we're live. You guys let me know in the comment section if you can hear me, if you can see me. First things first. Don't know what's going on out here. First things first. Whoa. 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 Real quick, guys. Real quick. Your girl, Marjorie Taylor Green, got herself onto Turning Point Action Convention. It started today. I think yesterday at Friday, actually. So maybe she did this on Friday. Up until right now, there wasn't that many people reporting on this. I only saw one. But I went ahead and found the full thing. The full Monty, guys. Because what she had to say should scare the living bejesus out of every single one of you. I'm going to let this play for just a second, and we are going to have to talk about it.
We have the greatest country in the world. Things do not have to be screwed up. They are terrified that we are going to save this country by defeating the communist Democrats.
I mean, this is the superstar treatment, isn't it? Chairs. There are the chairs. So, what's scary about it? Number one, violence. Number two, the crowd.
Oh, I love you.
The dissemination of lies into a crowd that cheers for Hear the anger.
You know, that was my first campaign slogan. Save America, stop socialism. But we have a bigger fight. We have a bigger fight, ladies and gentlemen. I really want to talk to you about it.
There we go.
Well, I want to come out here and throw you all kinds of promises. I'm sick and tired of the lying politicians
Here
that
we go.
do that. Campaign cycle after campaign cycle. You know, November 4th, 2020, is when the real civil war in this country started. They stole the election. They stole it.
Her opening line is, here we go. Like I was saying before, I try my hardest to be funny during these things. That's the being funny is what gives entertainment value to things that are otherwise educational. You may have noticed the humor has left the room in the past few uploads. Her opening line was Civil War has already started and the crowd goes bananas. Here's the problem. Here's the issue. Not just that this crowd at Turning Point Action has gone bananas. It's not just that she starts off with Civil War, but it's the culmination of those two things mixed with what is called accelerant, no, what's been called escalation. there's been an escalation. It hasn't been just something, a steady stream of the dog feces. It hasn't been just a steady stream of the mushroom food that you've been seeing. There's been a steady escalation, especially since the Orange Godfather was found guilty. This woman, this crazy woman here, space laser woman here, went straight back to the House of Representatives and started calling for the death or the arrest of Dr. Fauci, started cursing in the hallways, started marching out to Arizona to introduce Orange Godfather, 34-time convicted felon, the Orange Godfather himself, ex-President Bone Spurs, by comparing him to Jesus. There's been an escalation. There's been an escalation. In this speech, you're going to see the escalation. You're going to see the obvious rhetoric that's been done. And I'm going to point out to you the escalations. The call to violence has become real. The war, in her mind, has already begun. As a matter of fact, that's her starting line. Imagine where the rest of this goes. This is the most dangerous, delusional, anti-American speech I've ever heard.
They stole the election, and I was a newly elected member of Congress, but they stole President Trump's election. And heading into Washington, D.C., I thought to myself, I can't believe this. I'm from Georgia. I knew Georgia voted for Donald John Trump.
It didn't. Georgia had been turning blue for a while, just like it voted for Ossoff, and just like it voted for, I can't remember his name right now, but the other black Democrat who was a pastor of a church. It's impossible to think in any way that there's a rigged election when out of the same state comes this Neanderthal, backwards person, this unbelievably unintelligent person, this bootlicker for Orange God King who feigns religion for the purpose of gaining power, and under Republican stamp, and at the same time, two other extremely liberal, supposedly, Democrats are voted for in the same election. And she's here to tell you that she knew Trump won. So, which way was it rigged? At which point?
Do it. And so I called up some of my friends. I called up Jim Jordan. I called up Matt Gaetz. I called up some others.
It's funny how all of her friends are sex offenders. Jim Jordan watched boys get touched in wrestling rooms at Penn State, or was it maybe one of those colleges, and looked the other way, is under investigation. And the other one, Matt Gaetz, she said, the one who takes 16-year-olds across state lines for purposes of sexual encounters. It's funny how all of her friends are sex offenders, and the man she worships was just found civilly liable for rape.
And I said,
we're going to take this apart, people.
We got to get together.
It's time to stop. It's time to stop the foolishness and say what we see. If I can be funny, I would.
Do something about this. And then I found out that as a member of Congress, I can object to electoral college votes. And so I organized with many of my colleagues. There was well over 130 of us. I called senators and asked them to object with us on January 6th. I worked diligently on that, and I'm very proud of it.
You're an idiot. You're a farcical human being. You worked very hard on it. Not once in your... There's an entire step missing. I hope somebody's watching this live. If you're not watching this live, you're going to get it. There's an entire step missing. Number one, I had the feeling that I just knew that he won. Step two, vote against the electors. Where's the investigation? Could we find something out? How do you know? Who did you ask? The first thing you did was call your sex offender friends and say, let's vote against the American people's decision. That was your first move, and you were proud of that. We're escalating. It's just getting started, believe it or not.
That I objected to Joe Biden's electoral college votes on January 6th. And then I was shocked, absolutely shocked at what happened that day.
Were you?
Americans protested an election. By the way, American citizens own the elections. American citizens pay for the elections. Your tax dollars pay for it. And American citizens have a God-given right by our Constitution to have free and fair elections.
A God-given right by your Constitution. You're such a dummy. You're such a low educated, low IQ buffoon. You have buzzwords that mean nothing. A God-given right isn't given by the Constitution, it's given by God. Do you have a constitutional right or a God-given right, you buffoon? And people listen to this and go, yay! Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? This absolute disaster of a human being. This 100% original specimen of a buffoon on a microphone is willing to start a war so she can rub the cardboard genitals of her orange God King. She's escalating.
And you have the right to bring your grievances before your government. Because guess what? You elect that government, and your tax dollars pay for that government, and the American people empower that government. So if you don't feel good about the election, there's nothing wrong with protesting it. And there was nothing wrong with protesting the election on January 6th. And any Democrat, that's right, and any Democrat, and any person from the mainstream media, and anyone that wants to continue to shame us for January 6th can go to hell.
We're already there, thank you. We're already there. We've been in hell. Since the moment you took your Neanderthal, bad-built Butch body out of Georgia and planted it squarely into the monument of our democracy. We've been in hell. Thank you. Appreciate it. We'll send you a postcard, MTG. What trailer park do I send it to? We've been in hell. She just said there's nothing wrong with anything that happened in January 6th. I wonder, was she saying that as she was running to her office with the gas mask in her hand? Jasmine Crockett said it best. You didn't know who they were coming to kill. Because what you did was unleashed a mass of foaming, angry, uneducated, underinformed people hyped up on your garbage. And they will turn against you too. Probably not you, because you will go ahead along with everything, MTG. People continue to listen. It's escalating from here. So do many of my family. Melanie, many of my family live in trailer parks. Owning your own trailer is ownership. I enjoy the idea. But you can't take the idea of you can't take the idea of the meaning, right? I can say, well, I like the country. Or when somebody says in the vernacular, yo, you act so country. It's two different things. So I understand. I'm glad that Melanie said that, so that people understand that I'm not dissing the trailer park. I'm dissing the attitude, the action, the thought process. I'm dissing the being okay with stupidity. I'm dissing the bad name put on it because of a stereotype that she walks around representing, even though she lives in $1 million mansion given to her by her daddy, and the husband that she divorced from will be living in that same lapse of luxury, but they walk around uplifting this idea that they come from somewhere that they don't, talking like they didn't go to college and graduate, uplifting stupidity and walking in the stereotype of trailer trash. That's the joke. That's the joke. She's never lived in a trailer park. She only does so on TV. That's the joke. In hip-hop, we call that frontin'. When people come from middle-class families, but when they get on their mic, they talk about how much drugs they sold or how bad their upbringing was because it's cool, because it's infanticized. Because they fantasize about it. She has an entire half of the population fantasizing about being stupid and backwards. That's the problem. That's the joke. That's the joke. Thank you so much, Melanie, for letting me explain that. She's never lived in one. She's only here to advance the stereotype of one. That's the joke. And here she is calling America her trailer park. That's the joke. I come from my college. My daddy gave me money. I left my mansion. I convinced a bunch of people that Q was right, that Democrats are out here killing babies in order to get power. I got here and convinced the rest of America that they too are from a trailer park they've never been. USA! USA! Do you love it yet?
Because let's be real. Let's talk about the two-tier justice system in America.
And here we go.
Let's talk about the weaponized government. The reason why I say the real civil war started in 2020 is because ever since that day, our entire country has changed. I was in Washington, D.C., and I'll never forget when the Biden administration and Nancy Pelosi, as Speaker of the House, brought in nearly 30,000 National Guardsmen and turned our Capitol complex into a military base.
because of your people. Because you live in violence. You succubus. You leech on America. Those people that you're riling up right there, right now, as we watch this, are the same people that normal people have to put up gates and fences around the Capitol for. Because you speak violence and demons are come out of your mouth and your vocal cords with every word. Your witchcraft has taken hold of the mind of people who were maybe even normal and decent at one point. That's why.
And you weren't allowed in there. The American people weren't allowed in there.
American people were allowed in there. Turning Point Action people were not. You've got it backwards. You're un-American.
And then they proceeded to shut down the country over COVID.
And here we go.
They masked school children. They shut down schools. They closed beaches. They silenced your speech. They kicked you off social media. They attacked the very core of our freedoms, all for a virus that they made in a lab in Wuhan, China.
Now, there may have been a break. There may have been a something that came out of the Wuhan lab. There may have been a breach of security. That's way different than saying somebody made that for you. The last I heard was so that Trump could be president. They gave a virus to the world so Trump could be president. Well, the ego isn't big enough for you, is it? Huh? It was a shutdown. America has had hundreds of them. For 200 years. George Washington did one. Complete and mandatory for all soldiers. There was one for an influenza scare. But now, thanks to your rhetoric, your lies, your attack on the mental capacity of this country, polio's back. Appreciate it, Marge. Appreciate it, Flintstone. Watch this.
Tried for crimes against humanity.
Here's the escalation. Listen to that crowd. I'm going to turn my mic off.
Over COVID. They masked school children. They shut down schools. They closed beaches. They silenced your speech. They kicked you off social media. They attacked the very core of our freedoms, all for a virus that they made in a lab in Wuhan, China. And yes, Dr. Anthony Fauci should be tried for crimes against humanity.
You hear that, guys? Look at that devilish smile. This freaking demon witch.
If I have anything to do with it, we will lock him up. He belongs in prison. But what they did to our country is something you only see in a wartime.
Now understand now the escalation is about to continue further. Not only have we started out with civil war has started, we ended up on your vote doesn't matter. Number one, civil war has started. Number two, your vote doesn't matter. Number three, those who took it from you, those who took everything from you, now deserve to be locked up for war crimes and put in jail. The escalation it came out the gate hard, and it's only getting worse.
And ever since then, look at what has happened. I'm one of the only members of Congress that frequently cares about, talks to, and consistently tries to help January 6th defendants.
War's already started. You have no political or legal recourse. The vote's taken away from you. It's okay to lock up your political opponents. Number four, I will defend you when you violently attack. We have the 4 pillars in 7 minutes. I'll do it again. Fear of a coming war. First thing, war has already started January 20th. Number 2, there is no other recourse. They've stolen your vote and voting doesn't matter. Number 3, our opponents deserve to be locked up because they don't believe what we believe. As a matter of fact, they're letting viruses out on purpose to kill you. And number 4, I personally, the government, the state, will back you when you destroy them, when you break into their homes, when you climb the walls and spread feces on the walls, when you take down the police and use their shields to crack windows, when you bring the Confederate battle flag into the honored space of democracy for the first time in 200 years. We will defend you. We got your back. Turning point action after this day will create at least another couple hundred fighters. Right now. Not tomorrow, right now. That's her job. That's what she does. That's what she does. That's what she's good at. She's not intelligent. She can't govern. She doesn't have a bill to her name that makes sense. What she can do is go out there, talk like a yokel, convince people who have nothing that she came also from nothing. Convince people who have nothing that somehow the trailer park is where she comes from. And in doing so, has created more soldiers. Violence is coming on election day, before election day. It was already written. The minute somebody was dumb enough, arrogant enough, debased enough, demonic enough, anti-democratic enough, anti-American enough to say an election was rigged. Especially when it was not. Understand that. Especially when it was not. Even when it was, you don't say that. Ask Al Gore. Because most people who study civics and understand politics and history know that even if it was rigged, you can't say that it was rigged, or you'll never have a free and fair election again. That's how it works. You go fight another day. You lick your wounds. You go make a documentary about climate change. Only the idiots, the yokels, the dummies, the anti-democratic care more about their pride than the country. That's how it works. I'm not here to scare you. I'm here to warn you. I'm here to give you the facts so you can use them, so you can mobilize. I will not allow this type of dangerous rhetoric, this type of anti-American, anti-democratic Goebbels speak freely while I get on here with decorum and decency. It won't happen. It will not happen. Rise up. Rise up to meet the indecency. Rise up to meet the 400 or 500 people that come out of this conference tomorrow. Invigorated, renewed in their ambition to destroy the country, to continue their power. You too be renewed. That's the station now. If it's too militant for you, I understand. I'll be back to jokes next week. Understand, this will not stand. This rhetoric will not stand here. Go back to wherever you come from and recruit someone with this message I'm giving you. It's escalating. And if you're not prepared, we've lost it. Okay.
These people, what you need to know, these people are being locked up for years and years and years by our federal government, while the same federal government has completely ignored Antifa, which is an organized Marxist, anti-government, anti-America.
No, Antifa has a meaning. Here, we're back to the ideas that words only mean what we want them to mean. Antifa has a meaning. It's called anti-fascist. That's why you don't like it. That's why you don't like it. You're pro-fascist. Antifa is anti-fascist. That's the meaning. It's not Marxist. I would bet you there's socialists and communists amongst them. I would also bet you there's libertarians amongst them. I would also bet you there's anarchists amongst them. The point is, Antifa is anti-fascist. It has a meaning. You can't just make up a meaning. Number two, 97% of all Black Lives Matter protests were nonviolent. The only people to cause the violence during those protests were white actors trying to start something and blame it on them. Kyle Rittenhouse, who actually shoots people and gets off for it. And the other 3% that were tearing down monuments of the Confederacy.
Organization that has attacked our government, our police officers, and wreaked havoc across America for years now.
The police officers that were attacked by those same people I just said. Oh, and the January 6th rioters that you just said you go and pat their back and stroke their hair and give them mother's milk once a week.
They completely ignored violent BLM riots who burned cities.
They didn't burn cities down. Those pictures, videos that you saw, if you did see them, people, were actually pictures of the Boston riots, pictures of riots that happened years before. They're lies. Just like Donald Trump's crowd sizes. Just like his hairline. It's all a lie. It's all a lie done on purpose to make sure that you are always in a constant state of aggression, of fear, so they can put on Charlie Park yokel hair and get you just where they need you.
Attack police officers, killed people, caused over $2 billion in damages in our city streets. But yet at the same time, this government has made sure that every single one of you know that if you dare come to Washington, D.C. and question them, they will lock you up and throw away the key, and your entire family will suffer for it.
Hopefully we don't have to go over that again.
Do you think that we are free in America? Are we free? No, it certainly does not feel like it. And
as you sit there in a rhinestone dress, as you tweet out pictures of you paying $720 for a single meal, you dare come on here and talk to the people who are really hurting and say, do you feel free? Do you feel free? As you pander to Nazis and you pray for fake January 6th recreators, as you embolden the people who hate us and lie on the people who fight for us, you ask them, do they feel free in your rhinestone dress, in your $1 million dress, but somehow you can't find a way to get the blonde to match your roots? I'm sorry. You're free, Marjorie. That's the problem.
at the same time they have done this, they have ripped our border wide open where millions and millions of people from over 160 countries.
If you don't mind, I'm going to fast forward through some of this.
In a country that is not affecting our country. Sorry government, these same pathetic individuals, these same people that aren't smart enough to even do the simplest task, who have put our people in over $34 trillion in debt. I mean, you talk about math, it's kind of complicated, right, for these people? It's not hard.
And here you see the butthurtness. This is where we can laugh, people. When you see someone like her yell about who's intelligent and who's not, you know where that's coming from. She's a bleach blonde, bad built, butch body, orangutan back, Neanderthal, space laser, QAnon, country yokel. Those people, the escalation started with the criminal indictment there, with the 34 counts of felony and the conviction. That's when this escalation started. She has become mad, unhinged, deranged, sick. She's inciting others to violence, locking people up. She's giving them the 4 pillars that they need.
These same people that have ripped our border open, allowed terrorists, drug dealers, human trafficking, child sex trafficking, the worst.
Did they allow the space lasers? Just wondering.
Worst of the worst, rapists, gangs, criminals, to come in America, how are all high and mighty and self-righteous.
That's what you don't like. Watch her again, people. Look at that. All high high and mighty and self-righteous. Because where you come from, in your little corner of Rome, Georgia, they thought you were the smartest. And when you got to a place where everybody went to school, you realized you were an idiot. And they're laughing and pointing at you. And they see how you worship an orange maniac. And they make fun of you. And you don't like it. So it's pushed you more towards this serial killer act you're playing. This Columbine act you're playing. This aggrieved white woman act you're playing. When the truth is you don't cut it. You can't cut it. And it hurts you. And so you're relying on your last-ditch effort of a dictatorship to save your sorry ass.
And they have got to lock up Donald John Trump. That is their greatest thing. The only thing they care about is putting President Trump in jail. And here's the one thing that has me...
And you started out with talking about civil war and locking up Fauci. That was your first sentences. People remember that.
Infuriated. This pathetic trash, Alvin Bragg from New York.
And he's pathetic as you want. He's got convictions. 34 of them to be exact. Seems like he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, trash. Creates his fake charges, his fake felony charges. It is a bunch of bullshit.
Oh, that's the new cut word. That's the new buzzword. Oh, Lord, we love it. Ever since Donald Trump in a church said that word, now that's the new rallying cry for the Christian right. Bullshit. Don't you love it? Can't you turn your mind off just long enough to forget everything you said you believed in? Huh? Where are you, GOP? Christian right? Where are you? With your raised hands in the church. Oh, Jesus, Jesus, humble be my name. Where are you? Bullshit. All of it. All of it. I'm having a good one, John Owen. Sorry about that.
And he goes and convicts Donald Trump in New York. Now, New York is the same state, the exact same state, where an illegal alien monster was arrested by the great police officers in New York. They arrested this guy, but the justice system in New York did not prosecute him. They released him. And then that scumbag came down to Georgia and killed our girl, Laken Riley. You can't even comprehend it.
I can comprehend it. It happens every day, all the time. Every day, all the time. In red states, there's at the very least, in every red state, 10 murders a day. In red states, there's at the very least 10 murders a day. You say to yourself, well, that means that would mean there's like 3,000, there would have to be 3,000 murders a year. Well, let me restate it. 10 violent crimes a day that have to do with guns. There's way more than 3,000 of those every year. Thank God the crime has gone down in America for the past few years. But the point of saying all that is, American citizens kill, rape, steal, hurt, abuse, traffic, deal drugs at a multiple times higher rate than any illegal or legal immigrant. Those are the facts. I'm sorry about Laken Riley. I also feel for all of the dead children killed by unhinged right-wing mass murderers. I also feel for all of the people at Walmart who died in Texas because an unhinged right-wing mass murderer walked in there and started shooting up the place. I'm also thankful to those same police officers in Georgia for stopping the guy 2 days ago who wanted to start a race war and so was selling and giving away guns to every white person who he thought had the same idea. And they just happened to catch him. He said he wanted to go to a hip-hop concert. Wasn't sure which one yet. So yeah, I can fathom it. I can fathom it.
The state of New York convicts a former president and the Republican candidate.
The ultimate cold shower. Mike Bronx. Laura, write that one down, yo. I need that. Oh, MTG's face is the ultimate cold shower. That will put a smile on your face,
The
right?
United States of America on fake charges, but yet they release an illegal alien that murders an innocent young woman. We do not have a country anymore, ladies and gentlemen.
And that's what she says, we don't have a country anymore. All of the other things that I just mentioned were fine. One brown guy gets out because of a stupid law up there in New York. I don't know what that is. It's definitely not a liberal one. It's not one we were fighting for. Comes down and kills your lily white girl. Well, I'll tell you what, man. I'll tell you what. For every one of those guys that Kyle Rittenhouse killed that weren't lily white, does that add up? Does that bring back the country for you, MTG? Because it wasn't gone then. You don't have a country anymore. Those people don't have their family anymore. And he's on a tour, starting a brand new podcast. People said they wanted him to become their intern. He hasn't even finished freaking school. Then America wasn't gone then. You had a country then. It's just now that the brown guy did it. All of a sudden you don't have it. I'll tell you what. Why don't we all go lynch him? That's what we need. We need that good Christian clan up there. Jesus! Where's that good Christian clan when you need them? This brown guy came and killed a white girl. We should be hanging from the trees, and if not, we don't have a country to live in anymore. Get your guns, guys. Do you hear it?
We are post-Constitution. This is serious. And I want you to understand, the reason why I'm talking the way I'm talking is because I work in Washington, D.C. I work with these people. They have the most unbelievable ideas for your future, for my children's future. By 2035, they want every single one of you to drive an electric vehicle.
And that's when it stopped. All of the escalation was first. The rest of it is bull. Listen, I hope you've heard enough. I hope you've seen enough. It started with civil war has already begun. Started in 2020. The second thing was the vote means nothing, so you have no other recourse. While her rabid fans, look at this. This was the picture I'm about to show you. The picture I'm about to show you from that rally when she started talking about who to lock up and who not to lock up. This is the fan. That's grandma. That's grandma with the arm outstretched and the veins popping out of her neck because her anger has overflowed to such a frenzy. Because that witch spewing dark witchcraft out of her mouth started with the Civil War is already here, and her eyes got a little bit smaller. Then she said the vote doesn't matter. You have no more recourse. And her neck started to just have a little extra vein. And then the part 3, she said, the people who are in charge of you deserve to be locked up. Dr. Fauci was here to help you, who was a part of the Reagan administration, for God's sake, is against you. They're all against you. And we deserve to lock them up. And then her hand